Welcome back. This week, chemistry, physical science. What is chemistry? Some of you might have heard of this word, but maybe some of you haven't. Well, it's a type of science that deals with the composition and the properties of substances and the changes that they undergo. So basically, it's a science for understanding how things interact and how they behave when they mix and react with each other. Why is chemistry important? Well, there's lots of reasons, actually. First of all, many useful inventions and materials exist today because of chemistry. Things probably all over your house exist because we understand chemistry. And everything, technically, is made of chemicals. And chemical reactions are happening all around us all the time, even if you might not realize it. Even within our own bodies. Whoa! What is a chemical reaction, though? What does that mean? Well, it's when different chemicals combine to form a new substance. And sometimes when chemicals combine, it can be very exciting. And it can give off a lot of energy, like in the form of heat and light, like that. Or it can form entirely new substances, like this. Or it can kind of do a combination of both, like giving off heat and light and forming a new substance altogether. There's all sorts of really exciting types of chemical reactions that happen. For example, metal rusting is a very common one. And this is, for example, maybe a sped up version of what metal looks like when it corrodes, when it rusts. And here's another chemical reaction. Yeah, explosions, TNT, dynamite. That is chemicals reacting. Let's see it one more time. Wow. Let's hear a little bit about the history of dynamite from one of my favorite scientists.
Have you ever heard of the Nobel Prize? The Nobel Prize is awarded to people who have done great works for humanity. There's Nobel Prizes in art and for peace and for science. See, Alfred Nobel was a Swedish chemist who invented dynamite. Now, dynamite makes it a lot easier to move a lot of dirt around. A lot easier than you can move it around with a shovel. Anyway, dynamite made Alfred Nobel rich. Fabulously rich. He became so rich that he arranged that every year money will be given away to people who win a Nobel Prize. Now, everybody who wins a Nobel Prize gets about $1 million. That's not bad. It's all from a chemical reaction. Dynamite.
So there's two kinds of reactions. It can give off heat, or it can actually take in energy to cause a reaction. Okay, those are these are kind of complicated words: exothermic and endothermic. Let's all say exothermic. did you say it? What about endothermic? Well, exo means like to give off. Okay, and thermic means like heat, means temperature. Endo means inside or taking in. And so giving off energy is a reaction that's very exciting, like dynamite gives off energy, so much energy that it explodes things. Endothermic reactions, though, they make things colder. They take in energy. So let's talk about the very basic building blocks of chemicals. Elements are the building blocks of chemicals. Okay, So what's an element? Well, an element is a substance that cannot be broken down into anything simpler by chemical means. Okay, so for example, let's say you'd have a drop of water. Okay, just a single drop, and you take it and you separate it, and you cut it in half, and you cut it in half, and you cut it in half, and you cut it in half again until you have the tiniest piece of water you can get. And then let's say you take that piece of water and then you run electricity through it, and so it breaks even the molecule of the water apart itself, and you're left with hydrogen and oxygen, and those are two elements. And elements are made up of basically just three things: an electron, and then a nucleus, which is protons and neutrons. So I know that's a little complicated maybe for you, but basically an element is just as small of a substance as you can get, that you can get by chemical means, okay? So, and there's actually quite a few different types of elements, okay? So there's actually really not that many kinds, but when you combine them together, you can get everything that we see in our entire world, okay? So everything is made up of just these basically 92 naturally occurring elements. So let's watch a little video about that. I think my favorite scientist can explain it a little better than me.
Scientists have kept track of what fundamental chemicals, what elements behave in what ways, and we've listed them on something called the periodic table of the elements. There's only 92 naturally occurring elements. But if you think about it, you can think of a lot more than 92 things. They're all made of the elements listed on this table. Like, for example, calcium is in milk. And sodium, it's in salt. And potassium, it's in bananas. And calcium, sodium, and potassium all behave in much the same way in chemical reactions. So they're grouped together on the periodic table. The same is true of helium and neon, which are used to make this laser light. The periodic table tells us a lot about chemicals. Like, for example, banana milkshakes have a lot of milk and bananas. It's a lot of calcium and potassium. Now that's chemistry.
There's a lot of accidental discoveries that happened in chemistry. Many discoveries of new substances were created completely by accident. For example, in 1826, John Walker invented matches by accident, a substance to make matches burn. In 1907, Leo Hendrik Baekeland invented plastic by accident. The foam in surfboards was created by accident. Super balls were created by accident, and many, many more things were created just by experimentation and accidental discovery. So it happens in chemistry quite frequently. One of the ways that discoveries happen is just by playing around with chemistry. All of these inventions were invented by experimenting and playing with chemistry. But chemicals can be really dangerous. They can be corroding. They can be burning. They can really hurt you. So I can't really let you play with chemicals in school. So what can we do instead? Well, we can play with a simulation of some chemical reactions. We can play a chemistry and chemical reaction game called the Sand Painting Game 2. And it's pretty cool. So I'll show you how to play that real quick. It's just involves experimentation and with different substances and seeing how they react. All right, when you're ready to try the sand painting game, you can go back up to Seesaw and click the tab at the top, and then here's the lesson right here. It says next, and so after you watch the video, next click here for sand painting game. So here's sand painting game on this first link, and then it says, or here, click for the powder game. So there's two different games. They're basically pretty similar though. Let's click on the first one. I'll show you how that one works. So here's a sand painting game. And if you scroll down, you'll see all the different types of substances that you can place. And you can draw like a wall, and it'll kind of catch these different substances. Right now it's dropping this basically the sand. So the one substance on the left is actually sand. Then this is water, and then this is salt, and then this is oil. So you can see how different things react. Okay, we can see what wax does to the sand. I don't know if that does much, or what it does to the water. Not too much, but maybe wax does something when you put fire next to it. You can see what the what lava does. What does lava do when you drop some lava into the water? Ooh, well, look at that. It reacts. It reacts to the water. It makes steam, and it cools the lava down and makes a stone, it looks like. There's all sorts of cool different reactions that you can see that happen. And you can gather things up by building walls, and then you can, for example, make fuses to things and see how they react. You can, for example, put water down and see how that reacts with different things as well. For example, just as an example to see how things can react to each other. So I suggest playing around with this and see what kind of cool reactions you can get, and what kind of things you can make happen. And when you're done with this one, and you've experimented a bit, if you want to try a different game, well, you can go back to Seesaw and you can try the second one, the powder game. This has even more substances that can react, and it's got more interesting things that can happen too, like kind of maybe physics enabled things. So that means like there can be wind and air reacting. There can be like bubbles that form and move around. There can be, lasers and things that shoot around. And anyways, it's kind of interesting, and so you can give that a shot too. But basically, just experiment. This is just a chance to experiment with potential chemical reactions, since a lot of times they are dangerous, and we can't do that in elementary school. Maybe in high school you might be able to start to get to experiment yourself a little bit, but just as an example. Now, how do you respond? Well, after you're done, you can come back here and it says, so after experimenting a bit with these games, you can click Add Response and respond any way you like. Okay, so for example, you can use the microphone, the video, or the drawing tool, and you can just tell me about something you learned. Like, what did you learn? Did you learn anything about chemistry? I hope so. If you're in second grade, you can even try taking a screenshot of your game. I can show you how to do that in a bit. But for example, let me do a drawing, and I can write about something I learned. I learned that there are 92 natural elements. Okay. Well, maybe you learned something different. I did teach you about quite a few different things. Like, do you remember what it was called when there was reactions that gave off heat versus reactions that took in energy? Remember that? We said those two different words. There's all sorts of things you could do, and you could even draw a picture, or you could even post a screenshot, like so, of what your game was. And there's my screenshot. To post a screenshot, okay, here's the tricky thing. Thankfully, Mr. Rook has put together this lovely example of how to take screenshots if you're on either a Macintosh computer, a Windows PC, or a Chromebook. For Chromebook, you got to press down these three buttons. You got to press down and hold Control and Shift, and then press the window switcher key. Okay, and this will help you take a selected screenshot. For me, so I'm going to push the Windows Shift keys and hold them down and then press S. So if I want to take a screenshot, a selected screenshot of this, and I'm on a Chromebook, again, I hold down Control and Shift, and then I press the window switcher key. Okay, and it'll bring up a kind of a gray menu, and you can click and drag a box around whatever you want to take a picture of, like that, and it'll show up down here. snip, saved to clipboard. Okay, and then you can go back to Seesaw, and you can press Control and hold it down and press V to paste. So that's a little complicated. You can just draw a picture too if you want, or you can just use the record or video buttons to tell me something that you learned. I don't mind how you respond, and I hope you learned something and had a little fun experimenting with reactions. See you next time.